Question for Mr. Almarode. Could you please explain a little bit more about why you would not accept federal funding, please?
The concern I have about federal funding and acceptance of federal funding, obviously there are grant programs out there that we can accept, but if you're speaking specifically about federal funding, augmenting law enforcement staff, that allows directly for the federal government to have specific control into our agency. And that I will not tolerate. You elected me, I will lead you, and not the President of the United States or Congress or anyone else. The sheriff who you elected is who will lead.
Terry Kelly, you know I'm going to be on the board of supervisors. What's the first thing you're going to ask from us if you become sheriff?
Money. We're the second largest county in the state. In my opinion, we're about 20 years behind in manpower. We've only got 7 officers working per shift. So obviously, once we get in there after, we got to have more manpower on the streets. Currently, I think the public is not getting the service that they deserve, and it's not the deputy's fault by any means. Manpower has a lot to do with it. So yes, I would ask for manpower. Of course, I know only so much comes from the county. The state's got to supply some of it too. But that's what we're looking at. Now, right now, I've got, as I said earlier, I've got an aggressive agenda, in-depth agenda, and it's in the hands of someone right now that is taking that agenda along with our budget, and we're trying to get everything within that budget so we don't have to come ask for money. However, I think we all know that all 3 of us up here will probably have to eventually do so.
Okay, all 3 of you want to answer that same question.
Like Neil said here, one of the big things is manpower. We have to have that. With that being said, it's also the grants, we can explore that, but the main thing is whoever the sheriff is, has got to have a great working relationship with the board. That's got to happen. We need equipment all the time, new vehicles, so this is the budget in whole. You've got to have that relationship with your board members, that when you go down there, they really know, hey, we trust the sheriff, he knows what he's talking about, and this is what we need to make the sheriff's office proficient in running every day.
Thank you for your question, Terry. I think it's important for you to know, in my plan that's already built, I helped prepare the budget. I understand the budget, how it works. The first 6 months of the year that I'm elected, I'm not going to ask you for a thing. I'm going to use that time to restructure. I'm going to fix our manpower issues from within. But there is 2 things I'm going to ask you for. Right now, when we are elected, ladies and gentlemen, we have to operate under the budget that has been approved under the Fisher administration. So we have no choice. But there are 2 things I'm coming after. Number 1, our success as an agency has been bared on the backs of our employees. And I'm coming for help. I'm coming for 2 things. I'm coming for a pay increase that's based on their years of service. It'll fix 2 things. We have a retention problem, or starting to see a retention problem, and we have a pay compression problem. Those 2 things will automatically be fixed if you approve my request. Currently, I've done the math. Without the federal, the FICA, and the state, and the tax, we're at about 150 some odd thousand for that plan. The second thing I'm coming after is to secure our schools. We have 10,013 students, 21 campuses in this county. It's my responsibility, it's our responsibility to make sure those children are safe. Tonight, we are waiting on the tallies of a regional college that's just had an active shooter situation. There are over 30 people injured and deaths included. I don't know what the final tally will be, but that's an unarmed campus. We need to arm our campus. So I'm coming for the safety of our children. I have a plan. It's going to require 8 part-timers, and right now that looks to be about 114,000. And I can go into great detail later, but I'm coming after it. But I have a working relationship with you guys now, and I intend for that to continue. Thank you.
From the 3, what is your opinion on
on the military-grade equipment that the federal government is pushing on locales?
You good? That's a great question. My opinion, as a sheriff's office, if you get equipment, you need equipment to stay proficient. With some of the equipment that the military has, we don't need in an everyday lifestyle. My opinion on it is, you know, as a sheriff, you have to take care of your men and women that are there at the sheriff's office, take care of your personnel and what you need to make the public safe. But honestly, I don't really have an opinion on it. I would have to really look at it. But if you're asking me right now, I would look at it and see what our options are, what they're trying to give us. But that's my opinion on it.
My opinion is the same. I think that, you know, depending on what equipment they're offering, if it's something that we can use. I mean, obviously, I don't want my officers going out looking like military, you know, soldiers. I mean, we need to be professional. I'm not saying military soldiers are not, but we need to look professional, dress professional. But we also need, you know, we do need equipment, and depending on what the equipment is, I mean, I would definitely look into it more, and I think there would be some items that we definitely could use. There's probably some that we wouldn't need.
What you're specifically speaking about is the demilitarization program that the military has for local law enforcement. And I want to say this real quick. I don't know that they are pushing anything on us. There are folks that will, you know, if their hand's out, they'll take it. I won't be that sheriff. The demilitarization program that you're speaking about has a lot of equipment that is, you know, that's usable for local law enforcement agencies. But I think maybe if I dig a little deeper into your question, you're talking about armored vehicles and Bearcats and all those things. Look, guys, we don't even have bridges that can hold the weight of these machines. I don't know how we could even get them from point A to point B. So, yes, does our agency need an armored vehicle? Yes, it does. Our SWAT officers use it constantly. So we need equipment like that, but we don't need it to the grade level of military equipment. But there is military equipment available for law enforcement agencies that we actually can utilize. So it's a two-part question, and I tried to give you a two-part answer.
Anyway, what I wanted to know, please, from all three of you, is what you see as the drug issues, illegal drug issues in the county, and how you would best see to address them.
Okay.
We have a task force that currently addresses our drug issues within the county, and quite frankly, it's understaffed. And until we can do a restructure plan and provide needed services to our patrol division and throughout our agency, unfortunately, our task force will have to continue to do a little bit more with what they have. However, the task force and the school resource officer program are priorities on my list to combat the drug problem. When you have a significant drug problem, and we do, and I think that's in the, you know, how many of you obviously remember the bath salt epidemic? That's exactly what it was an epidemic. Well, we reached out to our partners in law enforcement, the federal agencies, and we were able basically to cut the head of the snake off through the supplier, and there went the bath salt problem. But as soon as the bath salt problem began, the meth issue dropped almost off the map. As soon as the bath salts weren't readily available anymore, the meth problem came right back to where it was. So we need to be actively and aggressively doing that on a reactive measure. But the answer to your question is simply proactive. Education, getting in our school systems and our community and educating these people about how damaging the drugs are. We did that with the bath salt program, and it was extremely effective. But we do have issues, and I will address them.
We currently have a drug task force team. I've got some questions about the way it's being ran, and my plan and agenda is to make it more in-depth and more effective. And the drug task force team is made up of several agencies. Augusta County, Stanton Police Department, Waynesboro Police Department, and the State Police. They're no longer together. The team is split. So, first thing I'm going to do is get everybody back together because, one, we can fight better as one team than everybody working separately. So, we're going to get the Drug Task Force team back together. Second, we got 2 major interstates running through this county. We've got all kinds of drugs running up and down these interstates. The majority of it, the drug problem in Augusta County is coming from outside. Some of it is manufactured here, but the majority of it's coming from outside. So guess what? They're coming up and down the interstates. Along with the drugs, you got drug money. My plan is to have a 3-man drug interdiction team. What people don't realize is the drug interdiction team, if it's put on by the sheriff's office, we go out here and we make a $100,000 bust. As long as the sheriff's office is in charge of it, we can apply and we can get 80% of that drug money. We can use it for educational purposes. And as I mentioned earlier, we need to start at the elementary level, not the high school. So that money will be used for education. You can't use it for salaries or equipment or anything like that, but you can use it for educational purposes and anything dealing with drug enforcement.
Like these guys said, Augusta County has a huge drug problem. Right now, if you're asking, if I understand it, meth is top of the line. Followed by prescription drugs. In our high schools, that's normally what's there, is prescription drugs. That's a big, big problem. Working with the task force for 8 years, I couldn't tell you how many nights the guys and the girl that I worked with, we were not home. It would be days without seeing our family. I said this last week. They extremely put long hours in, work their tails off to get the job done to keep our public safe. With the meth trade and the way it comes in to this area, we have to have a great working relationship with everybody, and that is including the federal government, with ATF, DEA, because they got longer arms than what a sheriff of Augusta County and his employees can do. Without them, you're not going to get where you need to get. Without going into great detail on that, like Nell too said, we have to start with our kids at a young age. Educate them. This is what it can do to your lives if you do it. When the DARE program was great, now we're getting Virginia rules. We need to kind of get back to going back to elementary school and start beating it in our kids' heads from there. It's a must-have. Our guys and girls are short-staffed. We need to get our working relationships back, get more employees put in the task force, and make it one big unit again. Thank you.
I'd like to know if any of the candidates have ever experimented with illegal drugs.
This has been ongoing for eons. Let me go even clear. Never been in rehab, never experimented with drugs, never been in any of that. Does anybody up here, including these guys, ever think we would still be employed as a law enforcement officer if that ever happened? Thank you.
No, actually, I never even knew what drugs were until I started my law enforcement career. So I pretty much hung around the good crowd in high school and partially college. So, yeah, when I got hired at Stanton Police Department, I learned real quick. So, but no, never experimented, and never will.
The answer to mine is no as well. Obviously, Todd's exactly right when he says none of us would be employed if we actually took illegal substances, sold them, or otherwise. I will share with you, I had an unfortunate situation medically that caused me great pain, and it was kidney stones, and they gave me Dilaudid. I don't really know the actual attraction to narcotics. I know how heavily they are used among the general population in the problems that we have. but I really don't see the desire of them. So the answer is no.
Three candidates, what crime prevention ideas do you have for Augusta County here for the upcoming next several years?
Crime prevention, Augusta County.
Well, my plan's pretty lengthy, so I don't know if they'll cut me off or not, but my agenda does address a lot of it. Again, the manpower, that's a big issue. We've got to get educated the youth at a younger age instead, wait until high school, because once you wait till high school, they're already using. So we got to get the elementary level, and unfortunately that's sad because that's what we have to do. But we definitely need more manpower to fight the crime, and that's part of the agenda that I have that's in depth and it's pretty aggressive.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to. Yeah, I think.
Oh, you didn't ask?
That's for all of us.
Like Neil said, more manpower is a must. You gotta have that. But you also gotta have that working relationship with the public. Listen, the public is our eyes and ears out here. Without y'all trusting us and restoring that trust and knowing that you can call on us and we're able to take care of any situation that comes upon, we gotta have y'all. And there's no way around. We gotta have you to have trust with us. When it comes to drugs, you got to get more people. You got to start on the task force. You got to have more people in the school educating them. That's from our school resource officers to other individuals. But prevention-wise, we have to have more people. You got to get through it.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question?
I guess he doesn't want me to answer that. No, thank you, thank you. Community policing is the answer, okay? It is the answer. Yes, we are a reactive agency right now. We respond to calls, and that causes us to be reactive. We need a stronger presence in proactive policing. We also, one of my big plans is to put on a crime analyst position. That will tell us where our needs are so that we can best address them. But I do want to expand our community policing division. I would actually like to expand in our educational piece. And I think with my expansion in the school resource program, that will automatically attach itself to our children. However, we're missing a whole element out here. We're missing you, the adults. That's a huge element. Right now we have one crime prevention officer, and you're looking at him, he's speaking to you. There's 73,000 people in this county. It's almost impossible to reach these people with those numbers. It's very important that we expand our community policing division. So that's how we're going to expand some crime prevention programs. But proactive policing is important. We have two issues that I think are some of the greatest challenges for the new sheriff. One is to get our family back within the agency. We've lost our team concept. There is no I in team. It's a team effort. We need to get that back. That's going to be a challenge for the new leader, is to bring our family back. The second is to get our community face back. Reach out. Be a part of our community. When we become a part of our community, like I spoke in my opening, about being an elder in a church or a volunteer, that's extremely important. And when we do that, that's how we get it. That's how proactive policing begins, and we can build upon that foundation.
If you are elected the sheriff, how will your presence in the community? I will go back years ago, and I can remember seeing Glenn Lloyd always out, different times speaking, and honestly, I have not seen Sheriff Fisher out speaking in parades or anything. I don't even know that he's down there. Can y'all tell me how that?
Yes, ma'am. That's one of my things I didn't get into tonight. I want to have an open door policy at the office for the employees and the citizens. Before I even had children, and I was active in the community, coaching sports, going to community events, and working the high school football games, so forth. As sheriff, I want to be in the public. I know you have to be at the office some, but I work the high school football games. I'm going to continue to do things that I normally would do, and to be out there because I like the interaction with people. I like to hear your concerns and your opinions of what's going on out here in the community. I will be proactive. Will be seen. Will continue to do what I do on a daily basis.
We definitely need to get the community more involved. Right now they're not. We definitely need to get the youth more involved. And part of my plan so far as getting the community involved is have liaisons throughout the county, in different parts of the county. We'll meet about every third month. And that way I can find out what's going on in your area of the county that you may need more assistance on, or your area of the county. We get together, we meet once every 3 months. And we have like I say, we have a liaison for each different part of the county. Stewart's Draft, Verona, Deerfield, Craigsville, so on and so forth. We got to get the community more involved. You elect me, I work for you. I'm just running your sheriff's office.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. I'm extremely active in our community now, and that's not going to change. It doesn't, regardless of my title. I have a huge community initiative plan. One is the Citizens Police Academy. The other is the Deputy Sheriff's Foundation program, and the other is a Reserve program. All those programs bring you, the citizen, into our agency. We welcome you into our family. And you will be we'll be proactive with you, and you'll be reactive, and you'll get to see what we do. That's huge and important. At the same time, we do have an open door policy. I've heard that term used a lot, and we currently have an open door policy. An employee, from the newest employee to the one with the most seniority, can go straight to the sheriff, right to the top, and talk about any issues that they have. The difference in my open door policy simply is this. That threshold is crossed both ways. It's extremely important for me to come out and be part of the community. So what I currently do, the ball games that I work, working in the church, being a part of a community organization, none of that's going to change. So you will see me. I participate in parades with other community groups, so that's not going to change either. I am the sheriff. You've elected me. You deserve to see me, and I'll be there. Lastly I want to ask or offer to you is I already have a plan in place. It's already done. It's a matter of signing the dotted line. Under my administration, we will open a satellite office in Churchville. And I intend to work there on a weekly basis so that I'm out in the community, not just in the office in Verona. That satellite office will offer us the opportunity to be further out into the rural part of our community where we're less seen because of the situations that we have in staffing. So that's really important that the sheriff be seen in many, many places. And we realize that, but we also understand the enormous responsibility that the sheriff has. So they have to be in the office. It is an administrative position, but we will be seen, or I will be seen in the public. I promise you.
I'm hearing a lot of more, and people. But what I'd like to know is how are you going to change the organization with the existing budget you're going to have to live with, and you're probably going to live with it for a while, because I suspect you're probably not going to get big increases in the budget.
And that's a great question. How are we going to think? We got to think out of the box, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, you know, I spoke in 2008, I took over the crime prevention unit, or 2006, I took it over. 2008, we took a huge reduction cut, and we lost our money. We lost our entire educational program. I reached out to the community to help support it, and they did. So we're going to have to partner with the community, number one. Number two, my restructure plan begins from the command staff on down. I'm going to open the lines of communication so that we communicate from the top down and the bottom up. But in my restructure plan, I'm going to restructure our individual divisions so that we provide current staffing needs within the agency. I'm not going to add, I don't need, if you look at any of the literature that we put out, I don't need additional funding. I am within budget, $6 million. I'm inside that budget currently with all of my administrative initiatives. So everything I've promised you today is an administrative directive. I'm not going to come and ask the board for a penny. However, in July, I will ask for almost $250,000 for two programs. The one is our employee program. We have to take care of our employees. Look, guys, we wouldn't add a $100,000 addition to a house that's falling down because the foundation's cracked. We fix the house we live in and later on add the $100,000 addition. That's the difference. I'm willing to I can fix the house we live in under current budget. But I have to put these two programs in place. I have to take care of the people that work for us today. It has to be done, and I have to secure our children. And those are the two programs I'll ask for. And I'll fight. If I don't get it, I'll go back. I'll be the squeaky wheel. They're going to have to shoot me the grease sometime. I will fight for my employees. You can take that to the bank. But all my initiatives are within budget, for the exception of those two things.
Well, I think one thing we can do is bring back the reserve deputy force, and but the bad thing about that is Department of Criminal Justice standards has really risen over the years. So it's one thing we need to look at. Is it going to be, we're going to be able to do it? Is the training going to be available? That's one thing we got to look at. I would like to have the reserves back. I think everybody else up here would too. Second thing is, follow within budget guidelines. There's a lot of retired law enforcement officers out here that love to have a part-time job. You don't have to pay them benefits. You pay them a hourly salary, and they are happy as they can be. So I want to get more retired law enforcement back into the agency, and that's going to help us save money too.
Along the same lines, the reserve program will be a great benefit for us. Underneath our current budget, we can restructure what we have now, and what my plan is, we can, if we do what if I'm elected and do what I think I can do here, we will be able to put one more guy or employee on each shift to give a total of 8 instead of 7. And then we could also put more employees and assign them to school resource officers and move some to investigations division or over to narcotics to help with the manpower issues for now. That's underneath the current budget with no other cost. Then it goes back to kind of like Derek said, and then you got to go have a working relationship with the board and everybody else to try to get more funding for a later date.
Are there volunteer positions in the sheriff's department?
Volunteer?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, they're being hired. No, they're not volunteer.
No, I'm
They get paid
asking.
for it.
I'm asking, no, other volunteer position.
Are there?
I don't work within the agency, but I think I can answer this. Your reserve program would be volunteer. They do not get paid. That's where you save your money. You have to obviously train them, equip them, but then everything else would be free. Their labor is free. You don't have to pay them a salary, you don't pay them benefits. So that is the volunteer program. But again, the standards have risen so much for reserve police officers. They almost have to pretty much take the same training as a certified officer. And it's hard to find somebody that's willing to give that time to go to an academy. So that's one thing we have to look at, see if it's something we can adjust to. I know Waynesboro Police Department has a reserve program, and it's very active, and that would be something that we could look at. We could work with them and see how they're doing it so we can accomplish the same thing.
Neil's right. For our youth, we have an internship program, which you come in, they learn what to do if they're going to the criminal justice field later today. One of the things I would like to add, if I was elected sheriff, is some kind of program, like, I don't know if anybody in here knows what the GTO cadet program is. It's what Bontot and Roanoke County police departments are doing now. It's for the citizens, like autistic individuals come in, adults, kids. It's actually an academy for them. You learn from them, they learn from you job skills. At the end, at the completion of the end of the academy, they come to work with you. They go to schools, do stuff with the deputies every day. At the end of it, you actually help them try to find a job out here in the community. That's one of the things I'm exploring and I would love to do. But with that, I'll turn it over to Derek.
Again, thank you for your question, and your answer is no. In 2008, we lost all of our volunteer positions through the reserve program. But capitalizing on that, I've launched, in December of last year, I launched 3 specific programs that will bring our community back into our building in volunteerism. Citizens Police Academy, Deputy Sheriff's Foundation and Association, and the reserve element. In the Citizens Police Academy, it's for adults as well as children. There is a cadet program inside of that, where you as the citizen, once you have been through and completed the program, you along with the certified officers that participate will actually help teach the children. And the element to that, which is important, is that the citizen base within the Citizens Police Academy, they work in our community. So if our children need jobs, or they're young and they're looking for other volunteer opportunities, there it is. The network and the partnership begins right there. So, you know, I think the guys tonight have said, well, I think I might do this, I think I might do that. I'm telling you, I'm going to do it. I'm going to open the office to the citizens and the media. I want the partnerships and the relationships so that you're better informed. Our doors will be open to you as a sheriff, if I'm the sheriff.
This one and one more, and that's it.
I'm really impressed with all three of these gentlemen, and I'm sorry I missed last week's. I haven't heard Mr. Smith talk, and I've heard a lot of, you know, if I am elected. If you're not elected, Mr. Kester, this might not apply to you because you're not within the department now, but if you are not elected, will you remain in the department and work diligently as you always have and support the gentleman who is elected?
Great question.
Great question, thank you. My response to that is yes. I've always been dedicated to the sheriff's office and to the employees and whoever the sheriff is, and that will not change. Flip side of that, if I'm elected sheriff, everyone there would have their job. And you might not, I'm being honest here, you might not be in this position that you're currently in, but you will have a job if you choose to stay there. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, and I did answer this last week. We are at-will employees, so it will obviously, if we are not elected, if I'm not elected, obviously I hope I have the opportunity to meet with the new sheriff, but you know, I'm an at-will employee. He can literally inform me at December 31st at midnight I no longer have a job, and that's just the way it is. That's the way the cookie crumbles. I'm prepared for that. I hope it doesn't happen. I have not decided whether I will stay, but I will tell you that every employee in my agency means the world to me, and the opportunity for them to meet with me and share with me their thoughts and their plans for the future and what they think the office has to provide, the opportunities it has to provide to the citizens of this county is very important to me, and the outcome of those meetings will be solely up to the employee. So, you know, some employees may choose not to stay, and I hope that's not the case, but you know, that's the reality in the real world in an at-will environment. You know, we already are going to experience attritional loss with retirement, and when we experience that loss, we will have still in the force 17 years of combined law enforcement experience. So as a new leader in that agency, that is something that you absolutely do not want to give up or give away per se by a bad decision. So I hope it works out that happens, but again, thank you.
The reason I went last was because it really don't affect me, but I do want to address something. If I do get elected, these two guys up here will have a job, okay? They have their own specialty, and I'm not going to fault them for trying to make themselves better or to make the agency better. So don't think that I'm going to come in and fire everybody, because I know it's a rumor going around. And I've known these guys all their law enforcement career. And I know their specialty, I know what they're good at, and they will have a position. Now, that being said, everybody knows there's some issues going on with the sheriff's office. There's a state police investigation, and until it comes out, I can't comment on it, nor can anybody else. But until we get the facts of what's going on down there, there probably will be some people that will no longer be employed with the sheriff's office.
For the reasons I'm here, I would like to know, there's an image that the public has after the current sheriff's department is tainted. I would like to know what the candidates who are part of that citizen, what their intent is then in relation to that perception.
Thank you.
I will say this, for 19 years, I've worked alongside with a lot of employees who are great employees of the Sheriff's Office. Now, when it comes with the Sheriff's Office being tainted, I don't buy into that. I mean, we're all honest, we all do our job, mistakes are made, we're all human, it happens. I don't know what happened with what Neil was, referring to. I have no inside track on that. I'll find out like everybody else does when it gets released. And I commend our sheriff and our admin on that. They've purposely not told any of us guys, or got us involved on any of the details. But personally, I've been there for 19 years, and ain't a soul in that department I won't rely on one to be honest every day.
Thank you.
Transparency, very important. Got to be honest, up front. If you make a mistake, admit it. Don't hide it. It's going to come back and bite you. So that's what I stand for, and that's what I'll bring. I'll be honest. We're going to mess up. I know that. We're law enforcement officers. We're human. But we're not going to hide it from you all. If we mess up, we're going to tell you, hey, we messed up. We're going to fix the problem. It won't happen again.
You know, there was only one perfect person in the world, and we crucified him. We're not perfect. We're human beings that wear a uniform that serve you on a daily basis. And where this rumor or where this image came from, I'm in the community daily in community policing. In the community daily. I don't see it. I don't necessarily, and I certainly don't hear it. And I absolutely do not buy into it. And I agree with Todd completely on that. If I'm elected, I'm going to make some mistakes. My agency, we're human. We can't, we're not going to be perfect. We're going to do our best for you, and the mistakes will occur. Transparency, consistency, and continuity is what we need. We need principled leadership that will tell you, listen, we made a mistake, we're sorry about it, it happened, and we'll fix it, and we'll try to do our best to make sure it doesn't happen again. That's where we are, and that's the way it's going to be. It doesn't matter who you elect; they're not going to be perfect.
Thank you. I want to thank you. I think you have 3 very qualified candidates here. And I say this as a retired trooper with 32 years. These men are fantastic.